Hello, my name is Jim Boykin, and I'm the CEO and founder of Internet Marketing Ninjas and also the founder of Ninja Tools. One of our first tools that we have released is the Featured Snippet Optimization Tool, which also comes with a People Also Ask tool and the Searches Related to tool. So today I'm going to go over those tools here and how to use those tools. So I'm way down here in the corner down here. All right, so we're going to talk about how to use Feature Snippet Tool, People Also Ask tool, Searches Related to tool for more search exposure. All right, so our site is at featuredsnippettool.com, which is where you can get this tool. And the first thing about this tool is that I assume that you already know how to write featured snippets. And I assume that you know how to optimize for featured snippets. If you don't know, I would highly recommend that you go to our resources and FAQ section that is on this website. We have a lot of great stuff in the FAQ section. We have featured snippet questions, all sorts of information about that. We have specific tool questions that are in here. We also have the Featured Snippet Education Center by Ann Smarty, where we have videos and blog posts and all sorts of information on how to optimize for featured snippets if you don't know how yet. But let's get into the tool. So you go to featuresnippettool.com, and if you're a registered member, you're going to click on the tool dashboard. On the tool dashboard, you'll see a screen that's like this that shows all of your past runs that you've put through the tool. Anytime that you run this tool, it's going to run all three tools at the same time. So if you run the Featured Snippet tool, where you rerun it, it will also rerun the People Also Ask tool and the Searches Related to tool. So it's one run, it does all three of them. But in your main control panel, you'll see the sites that you run. You'll see the number of keyword phrases that we use to search with that tool. You'll see the number of pages that you've optimized so far from that tool. You'll see the number of snippets that we actually found. So there's the number of keyword searches we did, and of those, how many of those had featured snippets. We also show the number of featured snippets that you currently have, and the low-hanging fruit that I'll talk about a little bit more, and the date the tool is run, and then there's the three tools that are in here. All right, but when you first start, you're not going to have any tool runs in there. So you're going to click on Create a New Run on the top of your dashboard. And here you'll see that there's two options that you have to do a run. You can run it at the domain level, or you can run it at the URL level. And I'll tell you about the difference in those and which ones you're going to want to use. But if you put in a site, here's the way the tool works. You put in a site, and what we do is we go to SEMrush and we say, give us up to 5,000 of the highest ranking phrases. So if you're a big site and you have 5,000 phrases that are number one, it'll give all those phrases. So we're going to look for the best ranking 5,000 phrases. Our cutoff is stuff that ranks below number 15. Our initial tool run will also say, hey, give us 5,000 phrases of the best ranking phrases, but only grab stuff that ranks within the top 15. If it's not in the top 15, don't grab it, because your odds of getting a featured snippet for a phrase where you already don't rank within the top 15 is about 0. So you may be like, hey, this tool is missing phrases. No, it's not missing them. It's either something that's really not a valuable phrase, or it's a valuable phrase that you're not in the top 15 for. But our tool, the first thing we do, we go to SEMrush. We say, give us your 5,000 most valuable phrases that are in the top 15 based on the highest ranking keyword phrases. We then grab those. So in this case here, this was for internetmarketingninjas.com that I ran through the tool. And we had 2,546 phrases that this tool grabbed, where it said these rank within the top 15 of Google. And then what do we do is, if there's any particular page that has more than 80 phrases associated with it, we remove anything after 80. So we grab the most 80 valuable phrases for any page. If there's more than 80, we remove those just because 80 is enough phrases to analyze for any one web page. So my final list was 2,031 phrases after this tool ran. And all runs are limited to 2,000 phrases. So this is pretty good. I'm going to run the tool at the domain level, which was option 1, and I'm only going to be missing 31 phrases. If your number is pretty much close to 2,000 or less, run it at the domain level. If you put your site in and you have like 5,000 phrases that are in the top 15 or more than 2,600, then I would say it's probably best to run this tool option number 2 at the URL level. All right, so that's the option 2. Run it at the URL level if you have a whole bunch of phrases. Okay. After you have those phrases and they're in the tool, there's also the ability to review the phrases, because sometimes when this tool is run, again, it's mathematically grabbing your best ranked phrases, the most valuable ones, and sometimes you may have a whole bunch of phrases from a page that you don't care about or that you don't need to check. But if you click on Customize the Keyword Selection, you basically can go through all the pages that are being checked and all the phrases that are being checked. And you can either uncheck some phrases, like, hey, I don't care about this phrase, I don't care about that phrase. You can uncheck phrases, or you can also just uncheck a whole page. So like, hey, I really don't care about the phone number tool page that's on our site. I can just uncheck everything here, remove that page from the analysis. It's an optional step. You either can filter the words that are being checked or not. All right, so I'm going to jump into the first tool. Remember, there's 3 tools here. Featured Snippet Tool, the people also ask, and the search is related to. So the people also ask, just so everyone knows what this is. If, for example, in today's search, I ran a search for internet marketing in Google, they showed a #1 result here from Search Engine Journal, and underneath it, they have the section called People Also Ask. Often, this people also ask, often it's on the top of the search result page. It's often the featured snippets on the very top in that position 0, and then underneath that is the people also ask, and then underneath that is the first organic result. So it's like you got to scroll down to see the #1. So first thing is, all those searches that we do for you, those 2,000 searches or up to 2,000 searches, anytime we run a search and we see this people also ask in information, we record that. I'll show you where that is in a moment. But just so you understand what the people also ask is, here's an example of it. If you click on any one of these items, you get something that looks like this. So I clicked on the what is internet marketing. You get kind of a drop down. This is basically a snippet from Google. It is not any special code that you need to have on your website. It's very similar to the featured snippets. If you have a heading on your page with this particular question and a short paragraph below it, which seems to answer the question and is good for users, Google will often grab that as well. So we also grab, and also after you click on one, you get a drop down of the answer, and then it throws in a couple of new items into the people also ask. So this is the data that we're collecting for this particular tool. So again, if you were to go into our control panel, you can see all the tools that are here. If you were to click on the people also ask for any one particular report, you'll get a page that looks like this. And what it is we ran 2,000 phrases through this particular search run. A little more than half of them, of those phrases, had the people also ask section. So with this particular tool for ninjas, we ran our 2,000 most valuable phrases, and just about half, a little more than half of those phrases had that section for people also ask. So even if I'm, number 2 or 3 for internet marketing, that's a ways down the page, and up on top you got the people also ask. So for all those 2,000 phrases that we searched for, a little more than half had the people also ask section on the first page of the search result. So we grabbed all of the questions asked, and there was, for this particular, for our site, we came up with 4,191 questions that were being asked. The unique questions was 1,881. So this page has all the unique questions that were asked and the people also asked. And then we show the number of times that that question was asked in different searches. So 52 out of the 2,000 searches that had the people also asked this exact question. So this is a very popular question. The higher the number, the more popular the question is. So I'll talk a little bit about what to do with this in a moment. You also, and the people also ask and look at what are the which phrases gave which questions. So you can, you can kind of scroll down and be like, all right, all of these phrases that our tool was checking came up with this question. And you can also look at the first tab, which shows which phrases showed questions and what those questions were and how often those questions were asked. But the important one is the first tab. Well, it's the third tab, but it's the one that we default to, where you've got the boxes. All right. So I'll explain what to do with this data after I explain the searches related to tool, because you're going to do the same thing with it. So searches related tool, second tool. Okay. Searches related to is this. If I were to search marketing, usually, almost always on the bottom of the first page of search results, there's a section like this that says searches related to, and then whatever you were searching for. In this case, my search phrase is internet marketing. And then below it, you have all these searches related to phrases. So on all the phrases that we're running to look for featured snippets and people also ask, we're also grabbing all of the searches related to phrases that show up. All right, so again, if you were to go into your main report page that shows all the sites you've run, you can click on the searches related to tool, and you get something that's very similar to the people also asked tool. So out of 2,000 phrases, I think they all had searches related to. We ended up with 15,624 related phrases or searches related to keyword phrases, and there was 5,611 unique searches related to phrases. So we have all those on this page. And again, you can click on the other tabs. So the tab where you have the checkboxes is the tab that you're going to want to use. You also can look at the related searches in which phrases. So these particular phrases show these related phrases, and you also can look at it the other way around to be like what phrases showed which related phrases and how often these were shown as related phrases. But here's what you want to do with those first two tools. So the people also ask and the searches related to tool. When you click on those tools, your main page shows all these items with the check boxes. You want to check off boxes that are relevant to you on this tool. So check off things that are going to be relevant to your site. And after you check off the boxes, click on export the check questions. And it's kind of the same on the searches related to tool. You've also got the list of boxes. Check off the stuff that's relevant and export them. CSVs. Here's your first action item. Combine those two lists. Okay. Organize the phrases by user intent. So take all those phrases and organize them, and then you're going to write some new pages. So you're going to organize those phrases by user intent. If you see that a whole bunch of the questions have to do with how to use YouTube tags, for an example, here's a topic, and you got 5 or 6 different questions and searches related to that all have to do with YouTube tagging. And what I'd recommend is to create a whole new page about YouTube tagging, and you're going to target all those searches related to questions, and people also ask questions as well, and you're going to have a page about one user intent. Okay, so these are going to be probably new pages on your website. Okay, Bonus points if you add schema code on those pages. So Google is looking at 3 new schema codes. FYI, they're looking at the how-to schema code, the FAQ schema code, and the Q&A schema code. That's a page level, and you pretty much want that to be about one item, which is why you're going to create new pages based off of this. So there's your first action item. You're going to create new pages based on those phrases, and ideally you're going to add schema code to it. I'll tell you a little bit about schema code later in this talk. Okay, so done with the first two tools. Let's go on to the big one here, which is the Featured Snippet Tool. So again, if you go into your main dashboard page, click on the big green button for Featured Snippets. Okay, the page will take a minute or two to load. On the top, you've got pretty charts and stats and information. I'm just going to go over that quickly on this one. So this is one that I did for one of our sites called Online Writing Jobs. It's a fairly small website. And we fed in 238 phrases. Oops, there was just 238 phrases that ranked within the top 15 for that site. Fairly small site. Of those 238 phrases that we checked, 100 exactly had featured snippets, and 138 did not have featured snippets. Low-hanging fruit I'll talk about in a little bit. Snippets you own are 5 of them, and the competitors own 95. So there's 100 total, but you own 5 of those. So 95 is that opportunity. We do give a yearly potential value based on that opportunity. Take these numbers with a grain of salt. These numbers are based off of search volume, average cost per click, number of clicks you might get, a little bit of Ninja Voodoo stuff, but anytime you see the Ninja numbers, take them with a grain of salt, but know that if this value is twice as high as this value, this phrase is probably about twice as valuable as this other phrase. We show your competitors, we show the different types of snippets. Here it looks like paragraphs, paragraph with images, list with images. I don't see any videos that are in here. Sometimes there's videos in here, sometimes there's tables in here as well. So there's a couple of different types of snippets. We have some export buttons that I'll talk about in a little bit. And then we have the values of the low-hanging fruit, the values of the snippets you own, the value of the snippets that you don't own, gains over last time, all-time gains. We'll talk about those a little bit more. And then underneath all those pretty charts and data is the good stuff. And this shows there's kind of 3 tabs across the top. And the first tab is the Featured Snippet Optimizer. That's the default, and you go down and you'll see a list of your pages. And it'll show, for this particular first page on here, this SEO Writing for Dummies, that there's 27 total snippets for that page. So out of all the phrases we checked, 27 of those phrases for that particular page have featured snippets. 3 of those are owned by the client, so the opportunity is 24. And we've actually created 8 custom snippets. So this means we've done some work, and we marked this page as optimized. But you'll see all your pages kind of in values going down. Start at the top, work your way down. Okay, if you click on any one of these lines, you're going to get the details. So if you click on that first line, the SEO for Dummies, you're going to get a drop down here with some information on this page. It'll say that for this particular page, we checked, there were 51 phrases we checked for this page. There were 51 phrases for this particular page that ranked within the top 15. Of those 51 phrases, 27 of those had featured snippets. 24 we don't have, 3 we do. And out of the 24 competitor-owned snippets, 0 are low-hanging fruit. We'll talk about the low-hanging fruit in a minute. And then underneath that, there's a schema editor, open to view page here. We'll talk about that in a second. But then there's the phrases that the competitors own the feature snippets for. So here are phrases that the competitor owns all of these phrases. There's a bunch more that are below here. And then we show the type of snippet that it is. We show the search volume for that particular phrase. We have our ninja value for that phrase. And then the person who owns the featured snippet, we also show how they rank in Google in the organic results. And then we show your rank. So the person who has the featured snippet for SEO articles, they're ranked number 4 organically. And our site is ranked number 13. It's going to be much harder to get this one because the guy who has it has number 4. A low-hanging fruit just to jump ahead would be like, let's say we rank number 3 organically. If we rank higher than the competitor who has the snippet, that's considered a low-hanging fruit. For this particular page, there was no low-hanging fruit. So, all right, so that's what it looks like. Now, also on this page, there's that button for open page here, because sometimes you may want to look at your page and be like, hey, do I already have content around these phrases or not? So if you click on open page to view here, we iframe your page and you can easily see the page that we're referring to on here. Okay. Underneath those phrases, we also grab the people also ask data. So yes, it was on the other tool, and on the other tool we're saying create new pages around that. The other part is, on any particular page, you're also going to want, we also grab the people also ask that relate to those phrases that we checked around that page. And so you may want to edit your existing page as well to include some of these people also ask questions. And so we show that on each page. So underneath the little chart up on top that shows all the feature snippets that are showing and who has them, and you can optimize those. We'll talk about in a minute. We have the people also ask, and you can create content for those as well. Underneath the people also ask, we also grab the data from the searches related to that relate to that particular page as well, and we show that data underneath it. So, all right, so if now what you want to do is you want to start creating some content. You either want to edit your existing content or create new content to try and get these featured snippets from your competitors, or as well to get the placement and the people also asking the searches related to for each page. So here, if you look at these, you can see the edits. The edits are where something's already been done, and you can edit that something that's been done. But if you click on any of those blue create buttons, you're going to get a pop-up that looks like this. Okay. Now there's two things that you can do. If you're looking over a phrase, let's say it's how do you write SEO articles, that's the particular phrase in question. You can either write new content for your existing page that covers that question. So you may look over your page and be like, I really don't answer this question on the page. I'm going to add in a new section on that page that's going to answer this question. So here we're creating new content. We usually create a heading tag on top of it. So here I did an H2. You can change into any type of H tag. I put in a heading of what the question was, and then underneath it, we wrote a short paragraph or some information that answers that. And that's adding new content to your page. So sometimes you may look at your web page and say, I really don't answer this question. On this page, I'm going to add something in addition to the existing content to answer that question. Or you may go into that page and be like, well, I kind of already answered that question on the page already. I just need to reword it a little bit so that I can get that featured snippet. So you may view your existing web page on some of the snippets and say, I already have something really similar to this already on the page. I just need to edit it. If you want to edit it, what you would do is you click on the part for edit existing content. You drop in the old content. You're just going to paste in the old content. You paste in or you write in your new content of how you want to change it in the bottom section. And on either editing the existing content or in writing new content, you can also put in some special instructions about that. So anything that you do with this tool, like if you go ahead and here's one where we we created a couple of featured snippet content. And we also can slide these off. So like, hey, we created something about this, so we slid it over to yes. We said, yes, this is optimized now. This is just a slider here. And we may look at a couple of titles or a couple of keyword phrases and say, hey, we can write one snippet that, in a sense, targets three phrases that are really similar. There's these three phrases that all are the same user intent. They're very similar words. I'm just going to write a heading that encompasses all those words in it, and I'm going to write a small paragraph below it that encompasses all those words in it as well. And so there may be, let's say there's 10 phrases to optimize for a page. And you may look at that and be like, all right, I can write three things that cover all 10 of those pages. And so you may write three new snippets, and then on all 10 phrases, you might be like optimized, 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 optimized. So anything where you feel you've optimized for that, just click on yes, you optimized it, push those sliders over. When you're done with the page, you can click on the page is optimized, and then up here on the top, whenever you see it, you can see where you left off and what pages you have optimized. Now, page 2 is anything that you create by clicking on the create button. It's all saved over on the second tab. The second tab, the optimize snippet, is where everything goes. So anything where you said, hey, add this content to this page or edit this content, it all kind of goes over to the second tab, the optimize snippet tab. On the second tab, it kind of goes page by page. So it says, all right, for this first page, here's the section where you're going to add new content. And then there's some instructions on where to put it. And then underneath here, here's something where it's old content and new content. So it's, hey, you're going to reword this content. So that second tab is where everything is stored that you do. Okay? All right, so second action item. The first one was create those new pages based on the people also ask and the searches related tool. You're going to create some new pages about those. Second item is you're going to use this tool on that top part where you have all these charts and you see all these phrases that your competitors have got the featured snippets for and you don't. And you're going to optimize those phrases that your competitors own the snippets to, so that you can ideally get those phrases. So that's kind of the second part is use that chart and try and get the snippets that your competitors have based on this data. And at the very least, you want to be sure to optimize for the low-hanging fruit. And here's a couple of examples of some low-hanging fruit for one of the sites. There's a couple phrases where the person who has the featured snippet, the one who's got that position 0, if you scroll down below, they're also ranked number 3. Yeah, our site is ranked number 2. We're ranked above them. So it's like, we should have that featured snippet. We probably just need to make the page a little bit easier for Google to be like, here's a good answer. All right. Third action item is, in addition to optimizing for the competitors' featured snippets based on all those charts and the values, you also want to optimize for the people also ask and the searches related to. We have all that stuff right underneath the charts. You can see here's all the people also ask related to this page. Here's all the searches related to that relate to this page. And you also want to optimize your pages for those as well. So when you're going in to optimize a page, you're trying to optimize for the stuff that the competitors have. You're also adding in stuff for people also ask. You may want to throw like an FAQ on the bottom like of your pages. Here's an FAQ, and put all those people also ask questions and paragraphs that are underneath those to answer them. Same with the searches related to, or go into the existing content and add those. So again, when you're editing the content, it's going to be a mix of editing the existing content and adding new content to the pages. So the Featured Snippet Optimization Tool consists of optimizing for the competitors' feature snippets, optimizing for the people also ask, and optimizing for the searches related to. And again, there's the new content or the existing content. When you click on the create, you're either going to decide, hey, do I need to create something new? or do I need to edit something existing for that particular phrase? And here's the existing. And again, we show, oh, schema editor, bonus points. Sorry, so we've built a schema editor into the tool. The schema editor is going through changes. Schema is not a simple thing to do, so to speak. But if you have a page that is a how-to page or a Q&A page or an FAQ page, those are ones that Google is now looking at that schema for to serve the featured snippets as well. You don't need any special code to get the featured snippet, but adding the schema to the page may help you to get more of the featured snippets because Google is now reading those. They just announced that fairly recently. So we do have a schema editor if your page relates to, again, an FAQ page or a how-to page or a Q&A page. All right, so again, everything you create or edit is saved on the second tab, the Optimize Snippet tab. And what you can do is when you're an SEO that's doing this work, now that you're done with it, you need to get that second tab over to someone to actually put it up on the website. And you can do a couple things. So on our featured snippet tool on the top right, we have all this export data and share data. You can share either the full report, which is everything, with someone by just sending them this link to the full report. They don't even have to be logged in. Or you can just share that second tab, the optimized snippet stuff. So if you just want someone to see, here's everything that needs to be changed or added to your pages, if you just want them to see that, just send them over the share link for the optimized snippets. If you want these people to see all the reasons and why you did all that, you can send them the full report. And so ideally, those people will then add those to the pages that need to be added to, and you're now tracking them. Remember to also save and organize the keywords from the people also ask in the searches related to tool, and to create the new pages from those topics as well. We talked about that earlier. All right, now one of the funnest things is the historical tracking. So this tool is going to run every month. You can even run it between monthly runs as well. But we have now the historical tracking, which is going through a little bit of changes, but right now we have it set up. So for example, on this particular site, out of 99 keyword phrases with snippets, there's 7 new snippets since the first run. Of those, there are 2 keyword phrases that no longer have a snippet, and out of the snippet changes, you have gained 16 new phrases and lost 0 since the first run for a value of $846 to date. So we kind of give all of the snippets a value, and if you gain new snippets, what is that monthly value? So we show the values, and underneath we're also going to show some data on the historical tracking of those phrases. So we go right to the end to actually see what is the result of your work, what snippets are you picking up, what are the values of those as well. And Q&A we're really not going to have, but hey, I thank you guys very much for watching how to use the featured snippet tool, and may you have happy times doing lots of featured snippet optimization. Peace and love, everyone.